Now, every year, around 100,000 people in the UK have a stroke. But while many of us think it's something that only affects older people, it can actually happen at any age.
Yeah, our next guest was just 26 when she suffered a stroke in her sleep. And 2 years on, Niamh Foster has made a brilliant recovery and is now helping Coronation Street tell the story of Betsy, an 18-year-old double stroke survivor. And she joins us now alongside her boyfriend Reece and Dr Zoe. Thank you for joining us on the sofa. I met you this morning. You're an absolute bundle of joy. Now, Niamh, can you take us back to that night where you suffered your stroke and what happened?
Yeah, so I was laying in bed. I think it was maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, roughly, because it was dark at the time. And I actually had my stroke in my sleep. But I didn't realise I was having a stroke. I felt really uncomfortable, really sort of like fidgety, wasn't I? And
yeah, just restless.
Yeah, really restless. And thought I had cramp on my right-hand side, which now, you know, my right-hand side was affected. So, yeah, it wasn't until the morning that I woke up and Reece was like getting ready for work, and you just presumed that I was sort of sleeping in, I had a restless night, etc.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, then at 5 to 8, you were about to leave at 8 a.m, weren't you?
Yeah, it was pretty
And
cool.
5 to 8, I got up and I somehow managed to, like, clamber to the toilet. And I saw the sort of drooped face. But even then, I didn't think stroke.
Because at 26, that would be the last thing. And oh, Zoe, unless you've got Zoe on speed dial, you've gone Dr Google. And at your age, you must have been going through all sorts of things till you got to, like, it's a stroke.
Yeah, it was just... well, then you took me to the hospital, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
And, you know, we lived 10 minutes away from the hospital. And, you know, I sped through A&E, I sped through they were straight, you know, on the MRI scans, CT scans, and it wasn't until the doctors literally said, you've had a stroke.
Wow.
Until we actually knew,
Yeah.
Really, so, but it frightened you to death, didn't it? You know,
Yeah.
because you not knowing what was going on, it would never, ever, like you said, would cross your mind that a stroke would occur.
Literally the last thing.
When they said the word stroke, what did you both think?
I remember not really realising the gravity of it because I wasn't really in the know. Like, I didn't know about stroke. I wasn't, you know, there was no sort of stroke awareness, or I thought strokes happened to older people.
Yeah.
I really did.
Well, apart from when you looked in the mirror, but at that time, even when they told you that, were you feeling anything internally? Were you in pain or...?
No, I wasn't. It wasn't pain, you know, I wasn't in pain. I was very disorientated. I was like, you know, I think my body literally went into fight or flight mode, you know, like a... yeah, it was surreal. The whole process, though, was really calm. I remember feeling really calm. Like, surprisingly, I'm not a very calm person. So, like, I was really calm in the car, like, in the hospital. I remember, you know, laying in one of the CT scans, and my right arm kept falling off the bed, and, you know, but I didn't ever think stroke. I really didn't.
And this was because they discovered you'd had a hole in your heart, which is actually quite common.
Quite common, yeah.
And are you born with a hole in your heart, or do you get a hole in your heart? How does it work?
Yes, it's one of the commonest forms of a congenital heart defect, but that hole being there can affect the way that the blood clots. I mean, you're more likely to get a blood clot. But most people, like Niamh, don't know that they've got it.
When you've been practising, have you ever encountered a younger person who's gone through a stroke?
Yes, yeah. I think, you know, older age is a major risk factor, but actually a person can have a stroke at any age, even children. It tends to be different reasons. So in older people, it's things like smoking, high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, whereas in younger people, it's more likely to be that there is an undiagnosed congenital heart defect. Around the time of pregnancy and postnatally, blood is more sticky. You know, so there tends to be different reasons, but that's why it's really important, we all know, a stroke can affect anybody at any age, so that we take
Is there
action.
anything you can do, you know, when they tell you to look for things or go to see your GP to get a checkup for whatever you think's going on? With a stroke, is there any signs before that happens?
So I think, you know, your health check that we have when we get to 40 and beyond is looking for those common risk factors, the smoking, the cholesterol, the diabetes. Something like an undiagnosed congenital heart condition, really, it's just one of those things that you might never know. Around the times of pregnancy and postnatally, you have to be more aware, and, you know, there are measures you can take if you've had an operation, like wearing the stockings, so your blood's less likely to clot. Also, people who get migraines with aura are at increased risk. Taking contraceptive pill, HRT, slightly raises the risk as well. So I think just being aware if you have any additional risk factors, but for all of us really, just knowing how to identify a stroke and taking quick action if it happens.
Niamh, what has the recovery process been like?
Yeah, I mean, stroke is the emergency itself, but recovery is the whole beginning of a new story. I feel like for me, it's been longer than I thought. I remember laying in the hospital bed and, you know, saying to my mum, I would, you know, shall I cancel London Fashion Week? You know, like, that was in 2 weeks' time. I had no idea what the recovery was. You know, I had no idea that at 2 years nearly post-stroke, I would still be... I had an OT session yesterday, an occupational therapy session yesterday, so, you know, it's ongoing recovery.
You still did the Manchester Marathon. You must be so proud of her, Reece.
I am, yeah, she's my rock.
You two are adorable.
And if anyone's watching this now, and there's an acronym.
There is.
Talk us through it. I think we might have that to put it up on screen.
The acronym is FAST. So I want everyone to remember FAST. The F is for face. So as Niamh was saying, if somebody's got facial drooping, weakness on one side of their face. A is for arms. Can they put their arms out straight and hold them there? If one's sort of wavering down or falling to the side, then that's a positive test. The S is for speech. Is it slurred? Can they not find their words, or can they not understand your words? And the T is for time. Time to call 999, because literally minutes mean brain when someone's had a stroke. So I want everyone to remember that.
And Niamh, when did Coronation Street get in touch?
Yeah, so now I work for the Stroke Association, which are a wonderful, wonderful charity.
Yeah.
And they got in touch via the Stroke Association, and then they got in touch with me and this other girl, Louise. And yeah, it's been amazing. They have really, really, really listened, and yeah.
So they've really listened to your story to make sure that their storyline is as real as possible.
Yeah, 100%. There's little bits that, like, you know, where Betsy, Sydney, there's so many similarities.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. You two are adorable. Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Thank you.